Well, we made it, ladies and gentlemen. We made it all the way to round 10, the end of the first season here at the Race Anywhere Porsche Cup, and we head to an absolute banger of a circuit. Mount Panorama sees the finale, and boy, oh boy, are we going to keep it nice and short and sweet for you tonight. It's David Christie, as always, in the commentary booth alongside my good buddy David Wrestle, back here once again. And David, a disappointingly small field, we've got to say, but it's Bathurst. It always guarantees us absolute chaos.
Yeah, absolutely. Good evening, Dave. Good evening, everyone. Welcome along to the stream. Hope you're looking forward to this one. Yes, shame it's got to end, really. I've enjoyed spending my Tuesday evenings with you and Mike throughout the last 10 weeks. But yeah, so good things come to an end. It is a shame there's less people than we normally would expect, but I think you can maybe attribute that a little bit to the circuit. Not to say it's a bad one at all. It is a personal favourite of mine, even if it is a little bit more difficult than most. But it is, very much a war of attrition, this circuit, isn't it? So it's probably a good thing that it's the sprint format to finish things off, because I think if we had a 75-minute race ahead of us, I think we might only have a couple people left by the end of the race. Just knowing how these cars handle and how ruthless this circuit can be at the best of times.
Absolutely. So the Pro Championship, that was decided last week, with the fact that Nick Maidson did not score any points, didn't turn up actually. So that was his race done and dusted. In fact, he did turn up, he DNF'd and didn't get any points. That handed the thing on a silver platter to Vince Peters, who is the only pro showing up tonight with Arius Humantis. I might be wrong on that, so let's just not take that into account just yet. Pro-Am points, though, it is super close indeed. We have got many drivers caught within, what's that, you've got probably about 5 drivers there caught within 80 points of each other as well, so definitely 3 or 4 contenders for the Pro-Am Championship and the Am Championship as well. 678 points currently for Ryan Hamilton, with quite a few drivers. You've got maybe about a 40-point spread between the top 3 on that one, but that is a Nomad Sim Racing lockout in the AM Championship. They've just been incredibly consistent through the season. That being said, that is exactly why they won the Teams Championship for Nomad Sim Racing Black. So, lots to see and to do tonight, and it was just when I was speaking about that Pro Championship and I was looking at the total points, I realised that there's only 55 points between Vince Peters and Nick Maidson. Drop scores still to come into effect here, David. My maths brain is super smooth right now. I think there's an outside chance maybe, but I'm not sure after drop scores come in. It depends on if Vince Peters finishes, because Nick Maidson, I've just seen, has just joined the session.
I was just about to say that, literally just joined last minute. So, I think, put it this way, Vince Peters finishes, I think it's pretty much confirmed that he will take the title. But, like we said, this is one of those tracks, isn't it, Bathurst? It's not the easiest of ways to get around, and it's one of those where the smallest little mistake can involve quite a heavy amount of damage in terms of hitting a wall, or even worse, kind of going through hitting a wall even faster. It's probably the worst thing to do, but it's still an outside chance. Look, I think it's fairly safe to say that Vince has got at least one and maybe a bit hands on the Pro Trophy, but crazy things have happened. You never know. We've still got 2 races to go, 20 minutes and 45-minute races to come up this evening, so everything can flip on its head quite quickly.
Yeah, they certainly can. And what I'm trying to figure out is that from the points screen, certainly I'm seeing that Vince Peters has dropped 4 rounds, whereas everyone else has dropped 3. So we'll clarify that ASAP. But either way, it's looking very good for the Pro Championship if it isn't already done and dusted. But there's your 3 pro cars on the grid anyway. Arius Humantis in the lead of Nick Maidson and Vince Peters. Harry Wills in front of Dan Sedgley, Steve Martin and Stuart Reynolds. That's your Pro-Am. And then for the Ams, you've got Dean Timms, Simon Underhill. Row 2 is going to be Eric Benson and Chris Cheriton. Jason Dilworth and Ryan Hamilton in Row 3. Now, we do have to talk a little bit about the drama as the cars are away to go and head round, because obviously Vince Peters left last week and it all came flooding back to me. I I remembered that that Nick Maidson didn't finish last week, and then I remembered that little comment in the drivers' chat afterwards. Basically, Nick was furious, saying that he was driving against the team rather than driving against individual drivers. So, you know, it was a follow-on from what had happened the previous week at Monza. But again, there's almost nothing to lose tonight for Nick, and the car's coming through the chase. Yeah, this could very easily get a little bit fiery.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, the fact that Nick and Vince are in there makes it spicy immediately anyway. I think, going back to what you said, I think Nick probably had less of a kind of a point to make after last week. I thought last week was a bit more fair than the week before, but again, we're not going to delve too much into that. He's not hanging around now anyway. I'll let you call the start and here we go.
Yep, here we go then. Side by side, Nick Maidson and Arias Yamantis get going underway here at Bathurst there. And it's a poor start actually for Maidson, who tried to get the jump. Vince Peters already gets the job done into turn one, into Hell Corner, as Arias Yamantis gets going up through the mountain straight. And it's an out school day here at the Race Anywhere Porsche Cup, because for the past year and a half I've been calling Bathurst completely wrong in terms of the corner layout here. But the Pro-Am Challenge gets going as well. Harry Wills away from Dan Sedgley, Steve Martin and Stuart Reynolds. They all make their way down as well. There's contact already. Nick Maidson has just dumped. That was one of the cars. Was that Vince Peters? No, that was Arias Yamantis that went flying sideways. Now, I'm presuming that's what happened there. Again, I just caught it out the corner of my eye there. It looked very much like the rear end of Arias Yamantis got thrown into the Griffin Bend there. But anyway, the AM Challenge gets going as well. Simon Underhill, Eric Benson, Jason Dilworth, Ryan Hamilton, Chris Chatterton and Timms won't take to the start there. But yeah, that's a bit of a drama there into Griffins.
Yeah, 100%. I caught a bit of it as well. I think I probably may have forgot actually a little bit more from you, like you said, David, in terms of what happened in the corner. It just looked like Nick was trying to go for that late move up the inside. Whether it was a case of Arias Yamantis kind of cut across and the move was already ready to be done, that's difficult to say. Obviously, hopefully we'll see a replay and we'll see exactly what happened. But it's not the start that Arias Yamantis wanted in terms of the time on the chart. Nick Madsen's doing all right because he's right behind the person he needs to be, and he can try and put a bit of pressure on Vince for the rest of this 20-minute first race.
Awesome stuff then. So here we go with Steve Martin down in third position in the Pro-Am fight just now. He's currently got Reynolds just behind him as well, Stuart Reynolds. Dan Sedgley, you can see that already going down through the S's, down through the dipper, then into Forest Elbow and on that long Conrod straight. That is one of my favourite parts of this track here. The car just opens up and it's on the way down into the chase. That's where all the bad things tend to happen, because it's that sweeping right-hander off camber and then you're onto the brakes as late as you possibly can be as well, and that is when the cars usually decide to give up the ghost. Remember, no ABS in these cars as well, so David, very easy to lock up and to make a mistake here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Dan Sedgley did nothing of the sort there. Lovely little move going into the chase under braking. This is the incident between Yamantis and Madsen. It looks like it's a tough one. Look, I think you could probably say that Nick was just about alongside the rear right-hand side of Yamantis' car there. Did he close the gap? For me, that's a racing incident personally. I think it didn't look like Nick understeered at all, and hopefully we can see a bit more from the back end here now. Got the wrong side, unfortunately, but it just looks to me like Nick was just about there, and I don't think there was anything either of them could have done there to avoid that, really.
Yeah, we'll rewind it and actually get to see here. I think, yeah, the car was already alongside. The car was always going to be in there. However, I don't know. That's exactly why I'm not in race control. So that is why Arias Yamantis now 11 seconds behind Nick Maidson and Vince Peters. Peters just stalking. Maidson just stalking Peters right now, as it is Dan Sedgley in the lead of the Pro-Am Championship, or at least in this final race. The thing with this as well, David, is the fact that, you know, with this opening 20-minute race, the one thing we've not touched on yet is the fact that there's two races tonight, 20-minute race and a 45-minute race as well. So we're going to get double the action here, and if you bin it in the first race, it's almost irrelevant because you can just dust yourself off and bring yourself back in race two.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Simon Underhill, big moment there, hitting the wall, just like you said. We talked about them a minute ago. That is a big instant for him, and that is, well, it's almost like he knew what you were going to say there, David, because as soon as you talked about the fact that you could potentially have an incident in the first race, going through, I think that's Frog Hollow up the top of the hill there, just hits the wall and then ends up in the other one as well. And that is a Porsche that is crabbing. That's not going to be something you want to take down through the S's. I'm sure he'll be taking that very, very gingerly indeed. Hopefully for his sake, though, he can get back out to the pit lane and he can fix a bit of the damage on there and get back going, going to get some points in for this one, because obviously, like you say, because there's only 4 people in that AM class at the moment, all these points will still mount up. They're still going to get upwards of 30 odd points for each race tonight, so it's something that, even though it might be a difficult thing to want to carry on, it's definitely worth it in the long run.
Yeah, it's going to be fun though, watching that car trying to crab its way. But again, it just shows how quickly you can go from 0 to 0 here. The car's coming across the line, then start lap number 3 here. And again, just looking at the different classes here, Vince Peters looking very comfortable up there in the lead of the race. But we've seen this time and time again. Maidson happy to take the initial place in that second part behind Peters and then slowly ratchet up the pace here. But towards the early part of the season, what we were actually seeing was Vince Peters just rocketing away. So I wonder which version we will see tonight. Meanwhile, back with your Pro-Am battle then. This is Stuart Reynolds trying to catch on to the back of Steve Martin then as they come up through the hill. Then this is coming up through Quarry Bend. Well, it's the cutting first, obviously, and then through Quarry Bend, that right-hander. And David, again, I alluded to it earlier. You know, every day is a school day here in the commentary box, but to realise after a comment that was made when I was commentating at Bathurst on Saturday there, that everything that I thought I knew, like the first 2 corners, or rather the second 2 corners, where I thought Griffin's Bend and Quarry Bend were, actually swapped about. So turn 2 is actually Griffin's Bend, and then you've got the Quarry is after the cutting. I just, my head melted at that one.
Oh, I'm with you on that one. I had no idea myself, and when you mentioned it, I was looking at the, well, I said to you earlier, didn't I? I was looking at the track map I've got in front of me and thinking, are you going to pull some fast one and tell me that the mountain straight is in fact turn number 2? It's one of those it's like turn 2 at the Red Bull Ring, isn't it, where it's not really a turn but they call it one anyway. I thought that's what you were going to say, and then it just made me think, like, how can so many places have different interpretations of it? Like, they've always been named this, as far as I know. I don't recall of any different cornerings being used, but somehow one website's got them one way around, the other one's got them another. It's very strange, but yeah, look, the more you know. I know not to use said website when I'm commentating on Bathurst races in the future, so I know I'll get the corner names right. So yeah, every day's a school day. Always an interesting one.
Yeah, it certainly is. So Simon Underhill into the pit lane, and he gets out of the pits. Now that is going to bring him out a lap down, but also pretty much in front, I believe, of that Pro-Am battle. If he's got a short run out of pit lane, it might bring him out just actually in front of the AM battle. But we're almost halfway through this first race of the evening here. Pro class is being led by Vince Peters ahead of Nick Maidson by the tune of 1 second, with Arias Yamantis after that turn 2 incident getting booted straight into the corner there like some sort of trick shot and pull. But Arias Yamantis now 15 seconds down, that gap going up, so I wonder if Arias is coming to more issues with that car. Pro-Am wise, it's Dan Sedgley in the lead of the Pro-Am race just now. Harry Wills in second, Steve Martin in third, Stuart Reynolds in 4th position. Eric Benson takes the lead of the AM battle as well, with Jason Dilworth and Ryan Hamilton chasing him down behind here. And one of the things we have to talk about, David, is Nomad Sim Racing. We've briefly touched on it, but it has just been an absolute whitewash for them in the AM Championship. They've done so well.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think I said it last week, and I'll say it again tonight. It boils back down to the amount of preparation and planning they put into their races in this championship. I think from what I know, we've spoken to all 3 of the black team members, so Jason Dilworth, Ryan Hamilton, and Simon Underhill as well, I think. And I'm pretty sure we've asked them to say similar sort of questions. They've always come out with the same thing. Like, literally, as soon as this race is done, it's almost like, right, debrief, straight into planning for the next one, and it kind of goes from there. Even go back to when they did the Daytona 24 a couple of weeks ago, they still came back from Monza the next day, or 2 days away, depends on when you started it, but they come back and they're just so kind of ready and prepared. The setup's on point. The strategies are sorted if they need them to be. and that's benefited them massively. Look, you look at Eric Benson, of course, yeah, he's in a team on his own. He's not going to have that kind of support network, but it just shows you how powerful something like that can be. Even in a sim racing team, it really does make all the difference.
Absolutely does, and of course Bathurst is a bit of a special place this week. David, you're brand new to your sim racing journey. Are you going to be taking part this weekend in the iRacing 12 Hours of Bathurst?
But yeah, for my sins I am, yeah. I love Bathurst, it's a great track. It's something, so we're driving in the Ferrari in the team I'm in at the weekend, so it's kind of middle ground in terms of the performance from what I understand. It's so difficult to get right, because you've got to be, as you can see these guys are at the moment, they're properly on the edge, but the smallest little mistake and you end up invariably you end up hitting a wall, and if you hit the wall in the wrong angle it throws you off into another one and you're just in a whole world of pain in terms of what's going on. So look, I'm looking forward to it. I've done longer races than it in the past, but I think this is probably going to be one of the, if not the most difficult one I've done so far, because it's just going to be such a war of attrition as you go through. These guys have got to do 65 minutes in total. When you think about 12 hours, it's quite a different scenario. Even in a GT3 car with all the electronics you want, it's a big mammoth task to kind of take on. But yeah, looking forward to it. Should be a good one.
Now, what has happened to Vince Peters? Because that gap was 0.8 of a second, and it's now 0.5 of a second. So Nick Maidson is starting to catch on to your race leader, and this is exactly what we've seen time and time and time again here, David, is the fact that Vince Peters will take to the lead. He'll do a really good start, but Nick Maidson will just slowly chip away there, and a 2:06.0 for Vince Peters that time round there. So again, he's not getting everything his own way, and it's still coming down even further. Although Nick Maidson makes a mistake, that gap goes up very, very slightly. But here we go then, getting dragged up, and of course Nick's now got the toll. This is huge for this race here as we go into the halfway point. We're not going to have to worry about fuel. We're not going to have to worry about pit stops here. But yeah, this is going to be awesome stuff. Right, Harry Mills then takes the lead off the Pro-Ams then alongside Dan Sedgley into Hell Corner then for the sixth time of asking. A brilliant job there from Harry Mills to get that after a big mistake, and I'm just going to shut my mouth because I've absolutely jinxed the poor lads. That's a bit of a scary moment if you're Steve Martin or Stuart Reynolds there, David.
Yeah, Harry did a really good job of getting out. Look at Nick Madsen going through McPhillamy Park up the hill down towards the S. He's just sliding that car through. He's on the ragged edge at the moment. I'll come back to him in a second. But yeah, it was a lovely move from Harry. Looked like he got a really good run out of Murray's corner. He was a few tenths of a second quicker than Dan Sedgley on the last lap, and just got a really good run through the final corner and had the move done really. And then just, as you saw, kind of got a wheel on the grass, and obviously no aids in this car at all. Just so difficult to keep hold of it, and I think everyone in that AM class did a really good job to avoid any real incidents. They were quite fortunate there. But going back to Nick Madsen, you can see in the cockpit of the number 20 Mag Performance SRT car at the moment. Look at him just following the weaves of Vince Peters going down the Conrod Straight. You're absolutely right. He takes a little bit longer than Vince does to kind of get into that zone. And I think that's been hindered a bit more because, well, so far as I know, at least anyway, according to the timing chart, he only joined the server very late. So whether that means he's not done any practice, I'm not 100% sure. I'm sure he's done a little bit at some point, but it takes him that bit of time. But when he ramps it up, he is super quick, and he's putting Vince under a lot of pressure now.
Yeah, he absolutely is. With just 7 minutes left to go in the race, the battle gloves are well and truly off for Nick Maidson. There is a lot of bad blood between these two drivers. I'd love to think that it is all fair in love and war, but after some of the words that have been shared over the past couple of weeks, I think that is very bitter between these two indeed. Well, I certainly like to think so anyway, because I want to see an absolute fight on this last race. But coming then into to Griffin's then with 6.5 minutes left to go, and you've got to say, I mean, Peters, it always confuses me, David, because you're never sure if Vince is just easing off a little bit, if he's just watching the pace, or if it is genuinely that Nick Maidson has got the number on him, because Vince Peters has so often this season looked so cool, calm and collected, but it's just in the last couple of weeks he started to look a little bit rattled whenever Nick gets anywhere near him.
Yeah, I think it's maybe just a bit of pressure, like knowing you've got a big championship like you have kind of on the tip of your fingers in terms of you nearly taking that title. It can put that pressure on you, can make you a little bit more on edge. I mean, look how close Nick Madsen is at the moment. It's impossible not to feel under pressure with any person behind you, let alone someone in Nick's quality, kind of chasing you down through the S's and down into the Dipper and now down towards Forest Elbow. I looked on the last lap and noticed it a minute before. Doesn't look to happen that time, although Nick Madsen does graze the wall on the exit and down the hill. But Vince Peters looked like he got a little bit on edge coming out of the Forest Elbow on the last lap. So, look, I personally think, like I say, it's difficult to tell sometimes. I'm pretty confident on this occasion. He's been put under a bit of pressure, and he's starting to overdrive the car a little bit because that Cup car, that 45 machine, is sliding quite a bit through certain corners where, yeah, you'd expect it to, but you can see there's a lot of aggressive inputs going through that wheel at the moment.
Yeah, there certainly is. Meanwhile, Eric Benson takes the lead of the arm race just now, ahead of Jason Dilworth, and that pushes Ryan Hamilton down into third. He is losing a lot of time there. I think Ryan Hamilton has come a cropper because that time is going down and down and down as Ryan Hamilton crashed in this car. Look at that time going up and up and up. That is looking very, very ominous indeed. So Ryan Hamilton going from the lead of the race here. Let's have a look at what has actually happened with him. And looking at the back of that car there. So this is Jason Dilworth, and this is what happened. So, now Ryan's car, has he run out of fuel?
I think that front right-hand side of the car, front left-hand side looks very, very second-hand indeed. I couldn't see it properly from the. Can we? Yeah, you can see.
Oh, that's a big lick of the wall. That's what's happened. He's crunched it. You're absolutely spot on there, David. Big steering damage on the front left there, and that is how it all goes wrong. This is a replay of what happened with Harry Wills. Just a wheel on the grass, tries to get the power in, and absolute heart-stopping moment for the two cars behind him, and that is what ends up happening there. And Harry Wills again coming into more grief here. That's a big hit at McPhillamy Park, and this is going to be huge. Cover your eyes, David.
Oh, dearie me.
Oh, medic. Good lord. At least he's quite comfy upside down there, is he? You know, the car's just come at a rest. I saw the mother of all Porsche accidents last night, where I've never seen an iRacing car go. It was about 80 to 90 feet up in the air, hit by an LMP2 car. So, yeah, not the best. But back with Jason Dilworth then, chasing down Eric Benson. Eric's going to be really happy to get this one from under the noses of Nomad Sim Racing, to be honest with you, because it's been pretty much a non-stop go for the season for the Nomad Sim Racing team. So for Slow-Mo to take this right at the end, yeah, that would be awesome. Meanwhile, that gap at the front now, just 1/10 of a second between Vince Peters and Nick Maidson. Your Pro-Am battle is Dan Sedgley ahead of Steve Martin and Stuart Reynolds then. And this is just, I mean, it's so many little storylines with 3.5 minutes left to go here. Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, top 3 in Pro-Am classes, top 3 in the championship. Harry Wills looks like that incident's not going to knock him out of the race, so he's still in pit lane. I can't foresee him coming back out. Not that he had, and I don't mean this in a bad way, not that he had a major influence on the title challenge anyway.
So harsh.
He would have had an influence. He wouldn't have been able to take it himself, is where I'm trying to go with that. Didn't word that very well at all. But yeah, he's unfortunate to see. I mean, it just shows you again how brutal this track can be. One little mistake you saw from him there shoved him from one wall into another. He could have grazed it. He didn't. He took a bit more of a chunk out of it, threw the car to the side, ended up rolling. And yeah, seems like his race is, or at least his sprint race at least, is done and dusted. There you can see confirmation, the outer period. He gets his name. I think that is confirmation he is out of this race. Ryan Hamilton into the pits as well. We saw him with a slightly second-hand looking front left-hand side of the car. But this is, yeah, this battle for the Pro-Am series is the battle for the championship. I mean, there's 30 points between the three of them. It's in championship order, or it's in reverse championship order, I should say, which is always nice to see. So at the moment, Sedgley's taking advantage going into the final round, but I don't think it's going to be enough. He's probably going to need to win both races, and then potentially drop rounds might work in his favour, but that very much remains to be seen.
Well, awesome. Awesome stuff. I'm really enjoying tonight's race here. 1.5 minutes left to go. Stuart Reynolds still onto the back of Steve Martin here, and they're still on the back of Dan Sedgley as well. Again, that gap between your race leader and second place coming all the way back down. It went all the way up to half a second. It's come back down to 0.3 of a second here. You get the feeling that Maidson does want it, although I'm a little bit worried that Maidson might try and just pop it in, as that's a huge moment for Stuart Reynolds there. A little clip of the wall and lock up of the brakes there. Keeps onto the back of Steve Martin, but the two of them drop off Dan Sedgley by about 0.3 of a second. The AM battle now down to 2 cars as well. Eric Benson about 0.7 of a second ahead of Jason Dilworth. And as much as, yes, it's disappointing, David, to have a small field for the final round of the championship, I still say, hand on heart, this is one of the best championships I've had the privilege of commentating on. The level of drama, excitement, and just absolute nuttiness from everyone involved. And even when you've got like 9 cars left in the race here, they're all super clean and they're all super respectful to each other here. And I'm going to say that, and somebody's going to absolutely punt someone off here, aren't they?
You're waiting for the absolute nerf into the final corner on the last lap, aren't you? No, I couldn't agree more. It's the quality of racing we've seen, even like you say, even towards the back end of these last few rounds, where like you say it's been a little bit thin on the ground. It's still been fantastic. Like the key hitters have still come back every single week. You see, you've got the top 2, well, the top 3 or 4 in each class in the championship at the moment, barring the third place man in the Pro Championship, are all here tonight, and that kind of speaks wonders for the quality of this. Even though some of them potentially haven't got so much of a chance in the championship themselves, the quality of racing is brilliant. The way they've been matched in their classes has been fantastic. So the guys at WSL have done a fantastic job in terms of, dare I say, matchmaking the classes in here, and it's made for fantastic racing. And I won't say too much because I don't know if we're allowed to at this moment, but I'm looking forward to what potentially comes next in this series.
Yeah, fingers crossed, and it should be a good one. It's always that temptation, because I'm at the stage now where this year I'm finding myself getting involved more and more with little championships. So it's that whole thing of A, do I get asked back for a second season of this, and B, do I do it, or do I want to take part in it? Because part of me is like, I really want to be involved with this. And Vince Pearce makes a mistake at the final lap. Oh my goodness me! What on earth? Nick Maidson, they're going to be side by side coming into Muddy's corner for the final time, and there's contact. Oh my lord, keep it pinned, lad, keep it pinned, get the rallycross channeled in you. He's done it, no way. Nick Maidson gets and Nick Maidson, he's crossed the line to win the race after getting taken out. I'm going to not actually say getting taken out, because the two of them, I think they were just having a bit of fun on that final lap there, to be honest with you.
I mean, let's face it, it was very clear that Madsen was very aggressively shutting the door into Murray's corner there, wasn't he? Look, I'm not going to say anything untoward, because I don't think there was anything like that in there, but fair play to Nick. I mean, yeah, Vince made a very, very rare mistake, as we see Dan Sedgley, Steve Martin, Stuart Reynolds come through in the Pro-Am class in that order. But yeah, rare mistake from Vince to go a bit deep going through the chase, and gave him the chance to do it. I personally thought the move wasn't going to get done because Madsen was on the outside, but somehow he managed to do it, and that was a lovely little Tokyo Drift style move across the infield to take the win.
Yeah, Vince Peters finding the funny side of it in the driver chat afterwards. So at least he's in good spirits of it. Missed the breaking point going into the chase there, but for the AM battle, Eric Benson takes the win there, and I believe, David, if I'm not mistaken, that might be the first time that Nomad Sim Racing have been beaten in the AM Championship so far this year. I'll double check on that one, but certainly I think that is the case. No, it's not, because Eric Benson won back in round 5, so that is not the case, but it's not been often that they have been beat. But there's your AM results then. Eric Benson from Jason Dilworth, from Ryan Hamilton in third place, Simon Underhill in fourth, and Dean Timms and Chris Cheriton did not start the race. Moving on to your Pro-Am Championship, Dan Sedgley takes the win in that one, Steve Martin in second place, Stuart Reynolds in third, and Harry Wills finishing 3 laps down after that early contact. And then in the Pro Championship, Nick Maidson takes the win after that last lap drama from Vince Peters, who finishes in second place, and Arias Jumantis finishes in third after getting cue-balled into the corner pocket on lap number 1. So there we go. That is your sprint race done and dusted. We've got a 45-minute race coming up after this. We're going to take a little break for a couple of minutes. When we come back, though, we will have a 45-minute race and a little bit of build-up and wind down before and after the race. We'll be back after these short messages. A warm welcome back then, ladies and gentlemen, to the final round of the Race Anywhere Porsche Cup EU Championship. We are a week behind because obviously we had to take a week out with iRacing doing iRacing things, but we eventually got here to Mount Panorama, and what a first race, what a first sprint race that we had indeed. It's David Christie and David Russell back in the booth again for the final time tonight and for the final time this season. David, looking to race 2, obviously it was a slightly unusual winner there. We didn't see Nick Mason winning that one, but a last minute mistake there from Vince Peters. However, turning our attention to race 2, a very different kettle of fish here.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, reverse grid from the results in the first race. Get that right. So yeah, it means that Nick Mads is going to be behind Vince Peters again. But then again, I mean, he left it 19 and, well, the best part of 20 and a half minutes, technically speaking, and I wouldn't say necessarily forced Vince into the mistake, but he was there when it counted and he did exactly what he needed to do, kept nice and close, and look, it gives him a little bit of time, but it gets him a little few amount of points back. I think it's only 2 or 3 points, but you never know. Vince drops out of this one, then there's 40 to 60 points on offer. I can never remember exactly how much it is, so it could potentially swing in his favour, and who knows, maybe we will look back to this one race and think that one incident maybe decided the title. Who knows?
Well, I think with the fact that he survived the race, that was the points that he needed to put it beyond doubt, given the drop scores. But we'll see anyway. But anyway, we get going underway then, as Ares Humantis and Vince Peters on the front of the grid here. Ares Humantis is going to have the leads of the race, as was last time. And Pro-Am then Harry Wills from Steve Martin, Stuart Reynolds and Dan Sedgley. Then it's Ryan Hamilton, Eric Benson, Jason Dilworth, Simon Underhill and Dean Timms in your AM race. But I don't think we've got Dean Timms taking part in this race, the second one. So yeah, that's a shame to see. But anyway, by the by, we head down, as that is one of the jankiest pace car, I think, entries into pit lane that I've ever seen in my life. That was, yeah, I'm not going to say anything about that. But anyway, Ares Humantis gets us round Murray's Corner for the final race of the season, and we are go. Great start there from Ares Humantis. Again, he's going to hope that he lasts longer than turn 2 this time, so we've got picture in picture. You can see him streaking away into the bottom right hand corner there. Anyway, we go with Pro-Am then, and Harry Wills with Stuart Reynolds side by side. Get going, the two teammates get going for Twisted Racing Red, and it is going to be a great start for Pro-Am. They get going underway, and I think Harry Wills might have just jumped it there. You can see him backing him up all the way up to the line there, and what has happened? David, what's happened to Vince Peters and Nick Mason? They've given up. They're stuck there in pit lane.
Yeah, I saw that a minute ago, because when it went to Humantis to the picture in picture, there was nothing there. It was just him, and I thought, what's happened here then? They weren't really close enough to make any incidents. I wonder if they're going to start as soon as these guys come past. There you go, look, they're starting now. They're going for a last to first challenge, aren't they? They're looking for a bit of fun out of this one. This is going to be great.
Oh, I love it. So this is purely about the banks now. The two of them just absolutely going for it. And what's disappointing is that whole thing I was putting over about there being bad blood between these two. I think that's firmly been put to bed there. Do you know what this reminds me of? Do you remember the film Days of Thunder, where they get the rental cars? That's exactly what is going on here with Nick Mason and with Vince Peters. Nothing to lose here, as the two of them absolutely going for it. I'm wondering actually if they're doing this just for the cameras. That's certainly one of the explanations just now. But meanwhile, back up the AM battle then. They're going to have to watch out, because Ryan Hamilton, Jason Dilworth, Simon Underhill and Eric Benson are about to have a rude awakening, as they have two Pro Class cars coming charging through them very, very shortly. In the lead of the Pro-Am class just now then, Harry Wills from Stuart Reynolds and Steve Martin with Dan Sedgley. And then Ares Humantis is going to think that all his Christmases have come at once. He is 46 seconds up the road in the Pro Class right now. He is going to be absolutely loving it. Meanwhile, here we go with this Pro Class battle then. I didn't expect that, but yeah, I'm actually genuinely enjoying this now.
Yeah, really looking forward to this one. This is going to be a really fun 45 minutes for these two, and for us to watch as well. I'm really intrigued to see how they get through, or if they get through for that matter, through these classes, because again, we've said it before, yes, there's a pro class, there's a pro am class, and an am class as well, but they're not actually that different in terms of outright pace. So I don't think they're going to find it particularly easy. And of course, there's no obligation for any of these guys to get out of the way because they're on the same lap. So I'm really intrigued to see how they get on. Fortunately for them already, it looks like Eric Benson's just going to drop back a little bit. He's had a pretty poor first lap by the grand scheme of things, so I don't know whether that's going to have an impact on him. But I'm really, really looking forward to seeing how and if they can get their way through this field and where they end up at the end of it as well.
So this is what I'm worried about happening. Oscar Wilkins has tuned back into the broadcast and he's like, oh my god, wait, what? How is Arian Shamantis 46 seconds up the road? So to clarify, Oscar, Vince and Nick for some reason stopped at the edge of pit lane, let all of the other cars head through, and then they've just decided to have their own little fight going on at the back of the grid here. So they're making their way back round just now. That gap will come down. I've got to be honest. I think that Vince still could take the win out of this. That's how scary the pace is right now. Give you an example. Last lap rounds, when they come across the line this time round, I would imagine Vince Peters and Nick Maidson are going to be about 3 to 4 seconds a lap faster as Harry Wills retires from the final race of the season. Then Harry Wills out of the race, he's into pit lane. Let's see what happens here. And that car already having damage on the front right, so he's already broken the steering on that one, and I get the feeling that car is going straight into the bin.
Yeah, it looked like it was one of them, isn't it? You know when it's going to happen. You just know when there's suspension damage because you try that slight bit of steering input, back end goes, he's overcompensated for it, he's had to jump on the brakes. Hopefully, I think this is going to be how it's actually happened. Oh, that is the most innocuous of incidents, isn't it? Just a bit too hot and heavy into Hell Corner, and once you hit the gravel in iRacing, you're off. There's no way you're stopping that hitting the wall, and well, it's exactly what happened.
Well, the repair bill's going to be a little bit expensive for them. Meanwhile, have a look at that. That means that in the Pro Class then, that is... having a look there as Vince Peters on the back there of Eric Benson already, if you can believe that, given how much of a gap they gave them there. Pro-Am is still Stuart Reynolds ahead of Steve Martin. Harry Wills saying that his brakes are absolutely knackered after 5 minutes. That is a little bit worrying for them to hear that one. And well, let's keep an eye on how this goes. Nick Maidson still about a second off of the back of Vince Peters, but we saw that through the first sprint race there. And I love the banter of this. I mean, part of me is like, yeah, it's a little bit rude, going all the way to the back just so they can tear through the field. But then it's the last race of the season. It's the same sort of spirit when it's like the last day at school, when you don't really care and you get to wear your own clothes and you get to bring in a game to school. Kind of showing how old I am there.
Yeah, for me it was just
cheers, mate. Thanks for that.
Each other's shirts and be done with it. But yeah, the less said about that, the better. One thing I will mention though is, have you seen the time that Vince Peters did in that last lap of 2:04.31? That's the fastest lap of the entire evening. I think his fastest lap in practice was a 2:05.5, and I remember telling you before the broadcast, that's quicker than I can go around here in a GT3 car. That is ridiculous pace. And Nick Maidson was only 2/10 off as well. I was looking at it before and I saw Stuart Reynolds 2:05.9, fastest lap. That's pretty impressive. And then these two come out and just absolutely tank it, and they are hounding Eric Benson at the moment. The poor lad must be screaming inside the cockpit of that slow-mo racing car. Don't let them through, Eric. God, don't let them through. Battle for it. I don't think he is. I think he is going to back out of it. You would think. This is going to be a bit close going down the back straight. This is going to be a little bit too close for comfort, isn't it? I don't know what's going to happen here. Nick Madson's behind.
That's what's going on here.
He's giving him a shove, isn't he?
3 wide through the chase. That's just things that you see every day. Nick Maidson tries to go to the outside of the chase. That's never going to work, but he's going to try and get the cut back here. Wow. That was scary, scary stuff. Eric Benson, I think, is pretty much pleading with him not to hit the face. That's a wild, wild moment, but gets it going again. And meanwhile, Vince Peters and Nick Maidson have already claimed their first prospective victim. Please tell me how that they, despite getting their way past Eric Benson, they still just did 2:05.9 for Vince Peters and 2:05.3 for Nick Maidson. The issue I've got is, as enjoyable, as entertaining as this is, this actually leaves them in a very vulnerable position, because they've got to make their way through the field, and lots of things can go wrong here with just about 8 minutes gone on the clock here.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, yeah, it's great to watch. I'm very much enjoying it. I'm sure we will enjoy it for the next 38 minutes or so. As Nick Madsen looks at the inside into the cutting, that's not where that move's going to happen. He nearly made it, though, to be fair to him. Just backed out in the end as they continue up the hill. But it is... I mean, the thing they have to consider, all joking aside, is the fact that there are people further up in this field, including the AM class as well, who are genuinely still battling for a title challenge. So they need to be a little bit careful. Don't do anything stupid, boys. You're probably not listening right now, but if you're listening back, retrospectively, I hope you don't do anything stupid, because that's the one thing. You don't want to have them having their bit of fun and then ruin the chances for a championship for the likes of Reynolds, Martin, essentially, as well. So it's all good fun, but hopefully there's a little bit of caution around it as well. They don't push their luck too much.
You say that, but I'm kind of looking forward to the drama in Discord after something like that actually happens. But by the by, I mean, it's an incredible performance that these two are putting on just now, cutting their way through the field. Ryan Hamilton, Jason Dilworth and Simon Underhill have got a little bit of a klaxon going on right now, because they've got these two pro cars trying to cut their way through the field just now. And have a look at that. Poor Ares Yamantis now has had 8 seconds cut out of that big, glorious lead that he had at the front of the field. It's already onto the back of Simon Underhill here. I think there's a little bit of squeaking and squealing going on in those Nomad Sim racing cars right now. As looking at Pro-Am, it's still Stuart Reynolds from Dean Martin and from Steve Martin and from Dan Sedgley just now. But just watching the pace that these two have got just now, it's definitely going to be on the mountain straight that they're going to get one, if not two, if not all three of these cars. This is going to be a scary moment, because this is exactly the situation where Ares Yamantis was pocketed into the corner at Griffin's Bend.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love, because I know that the Nomad Sim guys, they go into a little Discord channel on this server. I'd love to hear and be a fly on the wall in that chat right now. I can actually see that Simon Underhill, who's the third of those at the moment, who's being overtaken by Vince Peters up towards the cut-in. Is he going to make the move still? Nick Madsen's going to go for it as well, is he? Oh! This is very close. There's no contact between them, fortunately, but I can see Simon Underhill's live, and I'd love to watch it from his view as well, because from what I can see, he's doing it in VR as well, and that would be quite a sight, seeing those guys come towards you at a rate of knots. Fortunately, again, Vince Peters, at least at the moment, has made the move stick. He's now got Jason Dilworth and Ryan Hamilton to compose himself with as well, but looking at the pace they've got and the differential at the moment, he's going to make very short work of these two indeed.
Yeah, he certainly is, but he's getting kept held back. This is the issue here, down through the S's and down through the dipper. This is where you're going to lose a lot of time if you are Vince Peters right now, and actually that means that Simon Underhill feels a little bit racy here, because if he gets a good exit here, he's right on the toe of Vince Peters here as they come in towards the Conrod Straight. This is going to... You just know that this is going to end in tears there. You've got the feeling that Jason Dilworth moves over to the right hand side there. Now, was that to let Vince Peters go? I think it was, actually. Yeah, I did panic there, seeing him move aside very, very quickly there. But here comes, on the inside, Nick Madsen onto the brakes there, closes right back up to the tail end there of Jason Dilworth. And again, they're so close right now.
Yeah, I thought Nick Madsen was going to go for both of them into the chase there. It looked like he was so hard and heavy on the brakes going into the apex. I thought he might have tried the old double swoop and get Jason Dilworth as well. He's managed to take one of them though. Realistically now, I think what he's trying to do is just try and minimise the amount of cars between himself and Vince Peters. I don't think it's for any other reason. Oh, Simon Underhill there. Big moment coming out of Hell Corner. Manages to hold on to it, unlike Harry Wills did on the first race. Sorry, Harry, didn't need to mention that. At that point, there you go. Vince Peters peels to the inside at the mountain straight. It looks to me, I mean, that's got to be Ryan Hamilton backing off there. That was far too easy. And that is Vince Peters, at least, has circumnavigated the AM field, and they've still got 34 and a half minutes to go.
Weirdly, would you believe that the gap is still no bigger? And that was a bit of a last-minute lunge there from Nick Madsen. That gap is now it's only just gone a little bit bigger than it was in race 2, but it's still only 1.2 seconds, despite having 2 cars between the two of them. So Nick Madsen is going to have to try and clear Ryan Hamilton very, very quickly, and that will happen. And the good thing is as well, at least for Nick Madsen, is that he's going to get the boost off of the toe from Ryan Hamilton coming onto that Conrod straight. That's going to give him a little bit of a launch to catch back up to the tail end of Vince Peters here. So yeah, what a race we've got going on here. Pro-Am has kind of fizzled out nicely. Stuart Reynolds in the lead of the race from Steve Martin, 2.3 seconds splitting them two up. Just now Dan Sedgley in the third place there. Dan Sedgley was in the lead of that group there and gets sent all the way back down into third place. There goes Ryan Hamilton then side by side with I was expecting actually Nick Maidson to leave that a little bit further alone, but nope, gets that done. And that means that Ryan Hamilton's going to try and get the cut back there, get the boost coming down in towards the chase here. And now that gap down to 1.2 seconds between Nick Maidson and Vince Peters. And they're going to have to do that all over again in about 6 seconds' time when they catch up with Dan Sedgley at the back of the Pro-Am field. But that gap to Aries Yamantis now 38 seconds with 13 minutes gone in the race.
Yeah, I think Aries Yamantis at the moment is probably in that car, looking at his relative, knowing that, well, in theory, you can't see those two on his relative because there's too many cars between them at the moment. But I'm sure he'll be scrolling down to have a look at it and going, oh god, they're getting a little bit closer as we speak, and probably hoping at this point, cause looking at the pace differential at least, I mean, there's a no bad way to Aries in terms of the pace he's got, but there's around 1.5 to 2 seconds a lap, and that's easily doable for them to get to bridge that gap in the next 30 minutes or so. So I think he's probably hoping at this stage that they get kind of caught up in Bathurst, but they've got past what I would suggest is the most difficult group of cars because they're so bunched up. This AM class, you can see they're within a second and a bit between them. So the rest of them is actually Steve Martin. Looks like, Steve Martin out of the race. Just seen him drop back to pit lane. Wonder what happened there, but that promotes Dan Sedgley up into second place, and that will presumably take Steve Martin completely out of contention in the championship.
Well, there we go then. Let's see what happened there. Already got damage on that car then, the Steve Martin, and I get the feeling that that is going to be just an update from that one. Yeah, that's a hard hit and incoming. Boof, that is a... Yeah, there goes your supper. Anyway, Steve Martin tries to get recovered, but that car is done and dusted, and that is now a 2-car race. Meanwhile, Eric Benson at the back of the AM Championship just goes wide at at the chase there. I think he'll still keep it on and keep things going. Yeah, he does. So he's absolutely fine with that. Just nothing worse than what we saw with Vince Peters in that first race there. Just a little bit of a grass cut going on there. Jason Dilworth, meanwhile, this is going to be coming into the chase as well. And on the back end then of the AM battle just now for Ryan Hamilton. So just watching them come through. Right, so let's see that gap then between Vince Peters and Aries Yamantis now down to 36 seconds. There's Nick Maidson, and again he is right on the back of Vince Peters, and the two of them now going to be chasing down that Pro-Am field. So where do we go from here then, David?
Well, I mean, it's just a case of, look, how far can they go? I think it's very much it's definitely possible, especially considering Steve Martin's out of the way now as well. They've got 2 cars between themselves and Aries Yamantis on track. They get past Dan Sedgley and Stuart Reynolds, they'll just absolutely gun it until the end of the race and see what they can do to catch him. And I think at this moment in time, the pace differential suggests they will. Nick Madsen on the last lap at 204.7, Vince Peters at 205.1, Aries Yamantis at 207.3. Look, I've said this before, I'm sure I've said it in broadcasts gone past this championship so far, but you're always quicker, I find, if you're behind someone who's quicker than yourself anyway, because you seem to be able to just follow their lines, follow the braking points, and just gain a bit of time out. I wonder if that's what's potentially scuppering the advances of Aries Yamantis. As Jason Dilworth takes a hit to the wall. Is he going to hold on to it? He's lost the position to Simon Underhill. He was very, very lucky there not to have any more damage than he did do. It doesn't look like it's anything noticeable, but you just see him there going up the hill through Quarry Bend. He was a lucky boy there not to hit that wall any harder and really caused himself some serious issues. Yeah,
certainly was. Keeps things on the straight and narrow, and I think he's maybe got away with a little bit of a light graze of the wall there, but again, it's not really what you want to be doing at this point in time, given, like I say, that you've got another 29 minutes left to go, 28 minutes left to go in this race. You don't get too many second chances here.
No, absolutely. I mean, we've seen it happen a few times already, haven't we? You see the hit the wall the first time, you're going to hit it again, chances are, and you're in a whole world of pain. And that's the last thing you want to see happen. So fortunately for Jason there, manages to hold on to it. Oh, isn't it? Madsiger's a little bit wide, coming out of the chase and down towards Murray's corner. Again, they're holding on to it, but we know how difficult this can be. As Dan Sedgley enters the pit lane as well. So that's another car out of the way for this duo battling their way back through the field. I hope for his sake, though, that's not going to be the end of his race. If it is, then that all but confirms that Stuart Reynolds will take the Pro-Am title for this season.
100%, and it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because you don't want to see it happen, but such is the way that Bathurst goes, and that pretty much leaves Stuart Reynolds all by himself in that Pro-Am Championship. Dan Sedgley gets back out of pit lane, gets going again there. Again, pit stops are going to be a thing there. So if Dan Sedgley actually went in on lap 8, maybe that was his early pit stop.
Yeah, potentially. It's definitely possible. Like you say, we know that with 55 litres of fuel in the tank and a 45-minute race, they're not going to make it the full distance. There's no possibility, as far as I can tell, at least from my experience driving these sorts of races for this amount of time, there's no possibility you're going to make it on a race with a full tank unless you are very, very slow, which Dan Sedgley obviously isn't. Or isn't it? Madsen gets the wall as well. You can see that number 20 car's looking a little bit worse for wear on the left-hand side. That bonnet's a little bit skew whiff as it hits the wall again.
Yeah, that's a bigger hit though. That's the rear right. That's going to be steering damage now on that car for Nick Maidson. You can see, although with all the controversy about toe out over the past couple of weeks, maybe that's actually going to help him. Who knows? We'll find out. But that car looks like it's dropping a lot of pace here. We'll find out in the next minute or so, because he's going to try and turn right here at the chase. Gets it going down though, but again that gap now up to 1.5 seconds. Heavy damage on the front left, heavy damage on the rear right. The car goes wide. That is Nick Maidson's day done just now, because that car is going to go over 2 seconds, and again you're just going to go from bad to worse, especially this next time round up through the hill here. I get the feeling that that day is done. And look at this, Vince Peters is actually slowing down to let Nick Maidson catch up.
It's lovely to see. I mean, I don't think he's going to be doing it for very long, because there's not much of a chance that Nick is going to carry on with any real pace. I don't think. Like I say, that Cup car's looking worse for wear is a bit of an understatement, to be fair. It's looking very, very worn, battered and bruised indeed. Like I say, we'll see as he comes up into Griffin's Bend. How's that car going to handle into that fast right-hander? It looks okay. Doesn't look too bad. Nothing aside from what you'd expect. But oh my God, he nearly hit the wall on the exit as well, coming up towards the cutting. How's this going to be? Again, it looks like it mainly is okay. Maybe it is just body damage, and the suspension is okay. This is Simon Underhill coming down towards Forest Elbow. What's going to happen here? No ABS in these cars. Is he going to get a little bit out of shape? He is, and you can see him in that Falcon barrier coming towards you very quickly indeed, and that's a big hit. That's bigger than the one for Nick Madsen, and that is definitely, I would suggest, going to be some sort of suspension damage for the number 44 Nomad Sim Racing car. And you can see, parking up on the side of the road, it seems.
That looks like it. I've got the feeling, David, at this rate, me and you could jump into the server and actually catch up to some of these guys and maybe get a couple of positions here. Somehow Nick Maidson right onto the back then of Vince Peters again.
Yeah, he's not hanging around. Again, is this... Because, like you say, look, that car is not looking well, that number 20 car. It's tatty. It is one way you'd put it. So how he's doing that, it's got to be, in my opinion at least, it's got to be the fact that Vince Peters is just kind of easing off a little bit to try and keep them closer together.
You say that, but that last lap round for Nick Maidson, 205.8, that's not the sign of a broken car, or as broken a car as I'd like to think it was. We'll keep an eye on this next lap round, because obviously it was around the exit of the last lap for Nick Maidson that caught him out there, but I don't know, maybe that car's not anywhere near as broken as we think it is. So Vince Peters comes across the line and does a 206.4. Nick Maidson just did a 205.1. That car's not broken at all.
If anything, maybe it's lighter than it was before, because he's knocked so much body
he's
off of it.
Lost a couple of bits off of it.
Yeah, he saved himself a good sort of 30-40 kilos on there. If he had any ballast on there, he's definitely outlaid that by tapping the wall as many times as he did. But yeah, there's no slouch in that number 20 car at all, is there? Yeah, half a second off of his personal best, which is a 2:04.6. So yeah, he's still got the paces, Nick. And there's another tap of the wall going through Griffin's there by the looks of it. Look, I know he's knocking a few bits off to try and make it a little bit lighter, but he's got to be careful. He's only really got, in my opinion, a couple more taps on that wall left before it does some serious damage, and that car's going to be almost undrivable.
Yeah, it certainly is. Let's keep an eye on how it goes, though. He's done a grand job so far of keeping up there. Half a second between Vince Peters and Nick Mason right now. Again, it just proves how much Nick is absolutely pushing that car right now. And to be fair, so is Vince. The pair of them, it does leave you with a little bit of a sad sort of feeling, because you feel of like what could have been between these two. An amazing performance through the season, and an incredible fight, and it really has been the show of these two right now. And obviously we've got the Pro-Am and the Am Championship, and we want to talk as much about that, but the fact that you've got 2 cars left in Pro-Am and 3 cars from the same team in Am kind of sum up the way that season has been for them. It was amazing for the first sort of 5 races of the season, but it's kind of fizzled out towards the end, whereas these two, yeah, there's a lot of rivalry, but I also like the way that they've done this race here, proving that it is, there was a lot of hint that there was a bit of bad blood over the past couple of races. Certainly with some of the comments coming out, certainly with some of the performances that we'd seen. But this feels like it's the two of them have just agreed, right, this is literally, I've just realised, David, the equivalent of challenging someone on Xbox Live to a 1v1 in COD.
Absolutely, yeah. It's I mean, it's good to see that the 2 most consistent drivers of the championship in that respective class are the 2 at the end. Yes, they're not fighting for P1 at the moment, but I mean, maybe at this stage with a 32-second gap ahead to Yamantis, maybe that ship has sailed a little bit. It looks like Yamantis has just started to kind of find a bit of pace again, and of course they've still got Stuart Reynolds, who's 8 seconds up the road as well. So maybe that ship has sailed in terms of battling for the outright win of in the class. But to watch these 2 put every single ounce of kind of aggression in terms of skill, commitment, that kind of thing out on this track for this final 45-minute race of the season is so good to watch. And honestly, I could sit here and just watch them go around for the next 6 hours minimum and not get bored, because the way they control those 2 cars is exceptional. It's incredible stuff.
It really is, and it's quite inspiring to watch them as well, because you think, like yourself, David, I'm getting back into the whole sim racing thing, and you watch this and you're like, this is what's capable. This is the level of competition that you can have with one another online. It's just wonderful stuff to watch here, with just about 25 minutes gone in the race, 25 to be precise. And again, Nick Mason just holding in behind that car, a little rub of the grass there. That's not what you want when you're hitting 170 miles an hour in these Porsche Cup cars coming down into the chase there. But again, just putting on that pressure on to Vince Peters is Nick Mason. We're going to have pit stops. I would imagine we're going to have pit stops in the final 5 minutes of the race with these two. They've not really been too interested in pitting early for sure, but with 20 minutes left to go, I'm going to make a bold prediction. I'm going to say that Arias Yamantis is going to stay in the lead of this race.
I think you're right. I think unless there's any major pit stop issues for Yamantis, I think that gap is maybe a bit too big to bridge at this time. When we were looking at it in 48 seconds, I think it was when they first took off. Now that they've got that down, they got it down to about 33 seconds, and we started to see Nick Madsen doing his little kind of bunny hops off the wall and things like that. It's definitely settled a little bit since then. So, as provided Yamantis can keep his nose clean, get a nice clean pit stop in, because we know, like we said, there's going to have to be a pit stop for all of these drivers at some point. I think you're right, David. I think that number 71 car is going to be coming home for what I believe is his second win of the season, because if I remember correctly, he took one of the wins at Donington a couple of weeks back in the first of the 2 sprint races, if my memory serves me correctly.
Well, you've got better memory than me right now because I can hear you having a look through the Excel spreadsheet with all the lists. And we've got to say a big, huge thank you to the team behind the scenes at World Series Leagues for providing all of that information for us at a glance. It's brilliant to see such a great organisation, and if anything, I mean, they've been one of the most organised leagues, I think, for updating the results as they happen in the race. So it's been fantastic stuff. And look, being quite honest with you, I think Aries Gimantis thoroughly deserves this performance tonight. And all he has to do is just keep the foot on the accelerator, keep it on the black stuff, and he should be in a really good position here.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like he's pretty much there. And of course, that just solidifies third place in the championship for him anyway. I mean, it would have been confirmed, I believe. Again, like we say, we've still got drop rounds to consider. But looking at the, unfortunately, the amount of zeros around the people around him in the championship, of course, not able to attend for one reason or another, I think that's all but confirmed that will be P3 in the championship for Gimantis. And considering, let's face it, I don't mean this in a bad way, but he's not exactly been at the forefront of every single race. He has obviously been more so since we've seen a few people drop out towards the back end of the championship. But apart from that win at Donington in that sprint race, which I can confirm is correct, 'cause he got 40 points for that one, and I remember it vividly because we were so surprised it was him, because there was that big coming together on the last couple of corners between, I think it was Kuster and Madsen. But he's done exactly what you need to do in something like this to get a good position in the championship, and that's just be consistent. He's not really done anything wrong. He's been caught up in a couple of instances here and there. Some of them haven't necessarily been his fault, you would say, but in the main, he's kept his nose clean. He's kind of gone a bit under the radar a little bit, and that's paid dividends because he's pretty much confirmed himself a third place in the championship.
Yeah, he certainly has. It's been absolutely fantastic to watch. 15 minutes left to go, 16 minutes even left to go in this race. 28.7 seconds between Vince Peters and Aries Gimantis for the pro lead just now. Nick Maidson in third place, 0.3 of a second, just hovering behind Vince Peters there. Pro-Am is currently Stuart Reynolds in the lead of Dan Sedgley right now. 52 seconds between those two cars on the track. In the Am Championship, it's Ryan Hamilton, Jason Dilworth and Eric Benson. They are still within 4 seconds of each other, and remember, Eric Benson not part of that Nomad Sim team, so he could be in a good position to try and sneak himself up there just now. But with just about half an hour gone in this final race of the season, I'm just thinking back to the season that's come and gone, David, and I'm looking, I think back to the likes of round one, where we started it all those many moons ago. It feels like an absolute eternity when we started the league back in November at Le Mans for the pre-qualifying round. Then the actual season got off underway properly at Hockenheimring in late November. It feels like many more months than that, though.
It really does, and it's not considered a bad thing at all. We're coming into our final 15 minutes of this season, which is a massive shame, to be completely honest, because it's been fantastic. We've been blessed and spoilt with infinite amounts of action. I mean, there's been races where, especially towards the front end of the season, like you said, we barely had a moment to kind of catch our breath in terms of what's been happening. It's just been literally move after move after move, and if it's not been, it's been super close. As is always generally the case, it's just the case of now, because there's less people on the grid, if there is a gap, it's a bit more pronounced. But the quality we've seen across all three classes has been exceptional. There's no two ways of putting it out there, and it's like I say, look, we can't not address the elephant in the room. It's a shame there's less people than we had at the start. Of course, we were about 60 odd people at the qualifying round at Le Mans, which is definitely not the case now. But the fact you've still got these people and they're still putting it out there, and look how close these two are going down through the S's and into the dipper. It's the final race of the season. There's 14 minutes left to go, and they are absolutely going hell for leather. It's great.
Yeah, it really is awesome stuff to watch then. So Nick Maidson just 0.3 of a second behind Vince Peters right now. Jason Dilworth is now behind Eric Benson. So Eric Benson has got that position from the third place in that Am Championship and is hunting down, although the pace seems to be dropping away from Ryan Hamilton. In fact, what has happened to the two of them to Eric Benson and to Jason Dilworth. They've lost about half a second over that final course of the lap there. Vince Peters, though, hangs the tail end of that Porsche Cup car, the 992.1 Cup car. This new version is into the pit lane then. That is an unusual move for Nick Mason. Jumps into pit lane, gets the early pit stop, and this is a replay. And good save there from Nick Mason, just pushing it a little bit too far there, but thankfully keeps on to it. Erich Yamantis, though, in the lead of this race. The gap 25 seconds, and we've only got 13 minutes left to go. Here comes Jason Dilworth, though, on the back for the battle of Eric Benson. They go across the line then, down on the run down to Hell Corner with, as I say, just a few minutes left to go in this race then, and this is going to be a battle for pride, because Nomad want to get onto the top two steps of the podium if they can help it. And Eric Benson, having taken one win tonight, he is looking mighty good to hold on to that second place, having just recently taken it from Jason Dilworth. But we do have pit stops to come in the next couple of minutes as well. Dan Sedgley has already done his pit stop, so I wonder if Dan Sedgley is in a really good position over Stuart Reynolds. I think Stuart should still be holding on to that position, but somehow Vince Peters already up into third place.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, Stuart Reynolds looks to me like he's got quite a bit of a gap at the moment. I think, if I remember correctly, it was around about 47 seconds before, when Dan Sedgley came out of pit lane. What worries me, though, is the fact that Nick Madsen is still in pit lane.
That's true.
What I believe is the case is that when it comes to the pit lane, it's suggesting he's travelling down the pit lane entry. So I don't know if he's stopped, which seems really strange.
Not. He's not had his pit stop. So
No.
where is? I wonder if we can cut to Nick Mason actually then. Oh, okay. What? How has he done that? Oh, Nick! No! What has he done? He's actually wedged that car into the tyres. He came in too hot. Oh no! Oh no! This is just, David, I don't know if I want to watch this.
Oh, this is all.
Oh, that is glitched.
Oh, that is horrid.
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but that's amazing.
Do you know what? I think
Nick's in YouTube chat as well. That is rough.
I think you could definitely say we've seen it all in this series. Now, I think that was the icing on the cake. We just needed to see someone get wrapped around the barrier.
Do you know what it is? Is right. They've seen that Vince Peters was getting harassed too much by Nick Mason, so Vince Peters has deployed evasive manoeuvres. The magnetic tyre barrier. That's wow. Well, there you go. That is. I don't even know what to say about that, to be honest.
It's not often I'm caught out for words and things like that, but that is definitely one of them. That's exceptional. I can't believe that. I've got no words. That is something I've never seen before, and I don't think I'll ever see again. And I hope to God that doesn't happen to me in the 12 hour this weekend, because I will not be able to live it down.
Tyre barriers are not my friend, mate. That's why I didn't do the Daytona this year. Yeah, it was brutal. But well, there you go. Nick Mason. I guess he's not winning the championship this year then. Right, okay. Could you imagine though, right, if obviously I think it was well and truly out of the realm of possibility. Could you imagine, right, if it came down to the final race and that's how it was decided? Because Nick Mason was stuck on the barrier, that would be I mean, yeah, I'd be uninstalling iRacing at that point.
The only benefit you've got to have it looks like he's actually managed to get out now, so I don't know whether I'm not sure why it took him that long to do it.
Oh, maybe reset back to the pits.
Well, that's what I was thinking, yeah, because if you think about it, obviously the tow in iRacing, it kind of calculates how far away you are from the pit lane, so that's only going to be like a 5-second tow. It shouldn't take that long. So why he's now back out of the pit lane, so he looks like he's going to finish the race, but it's really kind of just for, like you say, just for pride nowadays. It's not going to really change anything in the grand scheme of things, but that's actually, I can't believe that's actually happened. I never thought I would see anything like that, and that is just, like I say, that's the icing on the cake for this. You can't beat this series now for me, because you've seen all this fantastic action. You've seen a little bit of animosity here and there, which is always needed for just kind of spice things up a little bit. And then, yeah, just to sign it off with Nick Madsen wrapped around a tyre wall on the entry to the pit lane. Yeah, for me, that's the icing on the cake. We don't need to do anything more now. It's all done.
Yep, that's it. We can stick a cork in it. The bottle is done. Right, let's reevaluate where we are then. Erasure Martin is still in the lead of this race, then ahead of Vince Peters by 19.2 seconds. Nick Maidson now a lap down after that incident. That's, I think, the politest way of putting it. It is then still Stuart Reynolds in the lead of the Pro-Am class ahead of Sedgley, who has now got that gap down to 25 seconds after the pit stops there. And then in the Am class is Ryan Hamilton ahead of Eric Benson by 6 seconds, who Jason Dilworth just 8 seconds behind him as well. So just the 8 cars still running here at Bathurst Mount Panorama. Steve Martin gets back out there with 7 laps down, and I think he is trying to get back out on the road as well. So 8 minutes left to go, 7 minutes left to go. Goodness me, I mean, yeah, we really have had it all this season, David. We've had, thrills, spells, weirdness, and I think that Oscar Wilkins saying, "Can we have a trophy for the most bizarre incident during the season?" Yeah, that hands down wins it.
Yeah, there's no two ways about it. You can't beat what's just happened there. That is nothing short of impressive. To be fair, up until that point, I'd have probably given it to was it Harry who ended up on his roof in the last race? That was probably up there with it as well, to be fair, and I would have given that to him had Nick not done what he did. I mean, look, I've already said I can't really put it into words what's happened there, but I still can't articulate it at all. But yeah, definitely the most bizarre incident of the season for sure. But yeah, look, 10 rounds. It's coming towards the end of it now, like I say, final knock-ins of the entire season, unfortunately, which is a shame because all good things do have to come to an end. But yeah, I mean, we've been sport rotten, haven't we? I think it's fair to say. We've had action beyond compare. I mean, the first half of the season's worth of action, and that's not to say we haven't had anything in the last half either. The first half of the season's worth of action is probably enough for probably 7 or 8 series put together, wasn't it? It was relentless, the amount of overtakes, moves, incidents and things like that we had, and we've been fortunate that that's in the main carried through the entirety of this 10-round season.
Yeah, it's been absolutely brilliant stuff to see. So let's have a look then at what we've got left in the final 6 minutes. So we've got Jason Dilworth still trying to catch on to the back of Eric Benson here. I think Eric Benson might have the number of Jason Dilworth right now, but we'll certainly keep our eye on it. Vince Peters taking about 2 seconds a lap out of Erasure Mantis. That last lap there, 2:04.90, and Nick Maidson still to get a lap in to catch himself back up. He will do very shortly. But as we said, I mean, like, we're down to the final 5 minutes of the season now. It's just a case of really, David, the drivers just enjoy these final 5 minutes, having a laugh and bringing the cars home now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I mean, apart from for Jason Dilworth, who will desperately be wanting to usurp Eric Benson, although through the top end of the track he doesn't really seem to have as much pace. It looks like the gap just kind of ekes out a little bit as they go up towards the higher areas of the circuit, up through the mountain. But otherwise, yeah, everyone's in kind of their own little space at the moment. So you got Ryan Hamilton's got a little bit of a gap. Dan Sedgley, Stuart Reynolds, they're in their own spaces. Mantis, Peters, Madsen, they're all in their own bits on track. So yeah, it's really just a case of, look, bring the car home, don't do anything stupid, and like I say, keep on doing it, because for a lot of these guys, again, like you and me, we don't have full confirmation exactly who's going to be winning this championship at the moment, because we've got those drop rounds to take into account. So look, we can suggest to you that Vince Peters wins it. I think that's pretty much confirmed. The Pro-Am and Am classes, though, again, Ryan Hamilton is in the pole position seat for it, but Stuart Reynolds and Dan Sedgley, there's options that could change. So these drop rounds are going to be all important. So look, I'd love to tell you who the champions are at the end of the night, but you'll have to wait and see.
Well, fingers crossed we're about to find out. The next 3.5 minutes then, Jason Dilworth then coming out of Murray's Corner for the 16th time of asking to start the next lap there. Has a little look up on the end of Hill Corner, gets it done. I didn't see that coming, to be honest. I thought that Benson was going to have the number on Dilworth, but Dilworth having a new lease of life after coming out of pit lane. So it is a Nomad Sim Racing 1-2 with Ryan Hamilton, but it's going to be the battle up Mountain Straight then. This is a proper little fight going on here, and somehow Dilworth gets that position back there. Sorry, Benson gets the position back there. I wonder if these two are just toying with each other on the final couple of laps. I simply wouldn't doubt that whatsoever. And Nick Maidson, that last lap around there, did a 2:16.3, but again, that is just coming out of pit lane. Jason Dilworth gets the car a little bit wide there, coming up through the quarry bend then into the right-hander, and then onto the way round through Roundtree Park, round Solman Park, and then into McPhillamy Park as well. That left-hander that leads onto that iconic view at Skyline. So difficult to absolutely nail that corner properly. To get it done though, down through the S's, and again onto the brakes as gentle as you can be, keeping that front wheel bedded to the ground as much as they can. Try to keep all of that weight forward on the front of the car there. But Jason Dilworth has a look around the outside. There's never any chance of getting that round through the Forest Elbow there. Great effort though, gets the car bedded in. He's going to have to dip that car into the toe and try and get that done through on Eric Benson. This time we've got just 2 minutes left to go in the race here, so I get the feeling from all of the aggression that Jason Dilworth is showing right now, it's going to be a dive through the chase here, but I don't think it's going to work here. It looks like Eric Benson has the number on Jason Dilworth, certainly for this part of the lap here, but again, it's all about the next lap here, as we've got just about 2 laps left to go, I think, with a minute to go. Weaving and bobbing, the two of them come side by side through Murray's Corner. This is an epic race. This is an epic end to the season, and if anything, this is exactly what you want from your season finale.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see Dilworth getting the move done finally into Hell Corner for what will presumably be either the penultimate or the final time of this race and of this season. And got that move done really nicely. It was a lovely little shape up and dummy into the final corner at Murray's, and just managed to get it done. Although Eric Benson's going to have a little bit of slipstream, don't think he's going to get enough of a toe to make the move into Griffin's Bend. He's not. He just backs out of it. I was actually wondering when they were running through that last lap whether Eric Benson actually made that move particularly easy for Dilworth going into Hell Corner to get himself the draft on the mountain straight, but didn't seem to happen as well this time. Maybe was just a little bit worse off, see, battling onto the start finish straight. But yeah, with 40 seconds left to go and whatever lap there is remaining, it looks to me like Jason Dilworth's going to make that a Nomad Sim Racing 1-2 for the final race of the season.
Yeah, it could have been so different. 30 seconds left to go in the race, and what a race we have had here. Ares is going to take a win from the season, and a thoroughly deserved win it is. Is he going to cross the line though? I don't think he is. In fact, he is. He's going to cross the line before, so we're going to get one more lap out of this, unless he decides to just park it on the finish line and get the win. But there we go, white flag flies then here at Bathurst for the final time this season, the Race Anywhere Porsche Cup. And what a fantastic season we have had. A huge thank you to all of our commercial sponsors, to Sim3D, to World Series Leagues, to Race Anywhere, and to Go for the Gap for making this season happen. It's truly been a privilege to be part of it just now. White flag though, as we said, Horatio Mantis then starts going up through Griffin's Bend for the final time, then turn 2, making his way up the mountain. Stuart Reynolds in the lead of the Pro-Am class as well, and Ryan Hamilton in the lead of that final race as well. So there we go, David. I mean, it does look like it's just a formality now for a lot of these cars, and yeah, I've really enjoyed not just tonight, but also all through the season. I mean, for me, highlight for me has to probably have been at Sebring, the night race at Sebring. It was just absolute chaos there.
Yeah, I would agree with you, but Donington had to take the hit for me. Those 2 races we had there were absolutely fantastic. I think on both of them, it was a battle for the lead of the class on the final lap, in Pro Class in particular, on both races. So I think that, I mean, like we said, every race in this championship has been brilliant. There's been action all the way through them. There's been loads of overtaking, lots of action in terms of instance, things like that as well. And yeah, like as I've said before, and we'll say one last time, we've been sport rotten throughout this season, and it's been a fantastic one to bring it to an end as well. It's just it's a shame that what happened to Nick Madsen did, because I would have been very keen to see how they ended the race, but of course that's not going to be the case now, because we all know what happened. We don't need to talk about it anymore, do we? I'm sure
we
it'd be
do.
embarrassing
We
enough.
do though, because I mean that was quite an amazing incident. let's not beat around the bush here. But either way, Arius Diamantis then coming down into Murray's Corner for the final time this season, and it's going to be a race win for Arius Diamantis. We've got the number 20 of Nick Maidson struggling to get across the line. He's come into some sort of issue there into the final corner, and I'm wondering if he has just absolutely binned that car, because that thing looks very, very broken indeed. In fact, now he's waiting for the leader to put him another lap down, to put him out of his misery, gets the wheel spin going, and he'll go across the line. Meanwhile, Vince Peters finishes in second place. Stuart Reynolds takes the final win for the Pro-Am class, and then Ryan Hamilton is going to come across the line to win. Oh, there's a hard hit for Nick Maidson. Ryan Hamilton takes the win for the AM class as well. Jason Dilworth will cross the line 3 seconds ahead of Eric Benson. And there we go. So that is the race done and dusted then, David. And got to say, I mean, a really, really good showing for tonight. And it looks like we've already got our first interview, David, for you.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll welcome Vincent in a second, can't we? We can have a chat with him and kind of get his viewpoint on the race and the season, because like you say, it'd be great to chat to the pro champion. I think we're going to see now what happened to Nick Madsen. You saw him losing it, going down through the S's into the dipper. I don't know if the camera angle allows. Saw it on the last occasion. He just ended up, face first in the wall pretty much. But a shame for him to end it as. But yeah, we'll bring Vince in, and we'll have a chat with what we can only assume is going to be our pro class champion. Vince, good evening to you. Welcome and congratulations, provisionally at least, on the pro class championship. You certainly made those last couple of races amusing for us. I can only assume you and Nick chatted about that little manoeuvre at the start of the second race.
Yeah, we did. But we thought we could go back to the front, but the gaps between the classes was a bit bigger than we expected. But it was still fun nonetheless.
I think, to be fair, David and I were talking about it throughout the race. We did think for the majority of it you were actually going to get back to P1, but it just looked like it seemed as though Diamantis managed to kind of gather a bit of pace towards the end. But I mean, to consider you were 50 odd seconds behind come the end of the first couple of lap or so, to end just over 10 seconds back is still nothing short of exceptional. I think it really shows the pace you've had this season. It's been I know I'm kind of stating the obvious, but it's been a pretty good season for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think I had a really strong first half of the season. I pulled a bit of a gap in points towards Nick. And then after that, there were not that many pro people racing, so I just had to drive all the races out past the halfway point and just grab all the points I could get.
And in terms of, we talked about this as well, when it came towards the final 2 or 3 races, so if we go back to Monza a few weeks ago, see, like I say, you were in pole position, and you still are at this point, and I'm pretty sure it's all but confirmed you've taken the title. But was there ever any point where you were feeling a bit of pressure in terms of having to kind of finish things off, or were you always confident in your abilities that you can get the job done?
Yeah, I think Nick and I were mostly the fastest, and then also there was Laurent was also really fast, but I think he just gave up after a few races go. So yeah, I just had to stay close to Nick all the time, not take too many risks. So Nick had to be aggressive, so I just stayed behind him in some instances, like in Nürburgring. And then when I could get by him, I just did. And I think I was also really good in the pit stops, so that's where I gained a lot of time throughout the season.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we've mentioned that a few times. You definitely thrived well in every race, but in the endurance formats in particular. I suppose the final question for me then is, look, like I say, you've been 10 rounds a season. What we had 16 races in total, if my math serves me correctly. I'm not going to get you to pick a favourite race as such, because I appreciate there's 2 every other week. But what's been your personal favourite in terms of the round of the season for this one in this first season?
Well, good question. I think Hockenheim was a good start because the pre-qualifying at Le Mans, I was really tired that race and I just didn't have the pace. So I started P7, I think, in Hockenheim. I came back, finished in first, which was unexpected, so it gave me good hopes for the season. But then especially the Sebring race, the 2 sprint races, I managed to... That was back when there still was at least 12 people racing. And both the sprint races at Sebring, I went to P1, so that felt really good. It was a lot of fun.
Ah, brilliant. Well, look, Vince, congratulations from myself, David, and Mike on the broadcast team. As I said, it's all but confirmed, but we're pretty confident you're going to be returning home with the Procast Championship in the WSL Porsche Cup League. So congratulations, and hopefully we'll see you again soon and see if you can defend the champion in the next season.
Thank you, and thank you for the great broadcast.
Well, David, I'll hand back to you. I think we're going to bring one of the other guys who's very kindly, patiently waiting for us at the moment. Should we bring in Nick and you can have a chat with our runner-up in the Pro Class?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's bring in Nick then. Nick, good evening. That was an entertaining race. We're going to just imagine that race 2 never happened for you. Talk us through that first race, though.
I think through the whole season, it's more or less, I think, up to setups and the most places on different tracks. I was a little bit faster than Vince in the corners, also downhill here today. But yeah, as I could see, he has 1 or 2 clicks lower wing. It was really difficult to overtake him on the straights, which is the most the best place to overtake here at Bathurst. And yeah, I tried my best to stay close to Vince inside the second, and he was almost getting out of the draft of me by 1 second, and I was able to come back and tried to attack him, and he made a mistake in the second last corner before the start finish line, and I was thinking, okay, this is my opportunity to take a race win, and I was not sure that I was totally clear of him, and it ended up in a crash in the last corner, and after I've seen the replay, I should just wait for him and let him get the victory in race 1, because otherwise it would not have had any effect of the championship standings. So it was still fun to race against him.
Now, like any good racing rivalry, it's had its fair share of drama over the year, but we unfortunately have to come and talk about that second race. I mean, how many swear words left your mouth after that instant in pit lane?
Once you have done so many races, you have to try all the things, and this one was not the best one, but I tried to make the best pit entry as possible, and went over a bit of the grass, and you cannot brake on the grass, and then I got stuck in the pit wall, and I think this was it. I got past the pit wall by 1 lap down, but still continue and finish the race. But it was a little bit sad that we could not have a last lap battle, me and Vince. But I'll take P2 in the championship, and many congrats to Vince. He has been really a step forward the whole season, winning I think the first 4 races, and this shows that he's the right champion.
Well, Nick, a very humble approach there, and we look forward to seeing what happens with you in the next season of what we have here at the World Series Leagues. But thanks very much for joining us tonight, and congratulations on second place in the championship.
Yes, no problem, and a lot of thanks to you guys for a great broadcast and commentating. It has been a pleasure. Yeah, see you.
The pleasure is all ours, Nick. So there we go, Nick Maidson. I wasn't expecting him to be so retrospectival. He was quite somber during that last interview there. But by the by, let's go and have a chat then, David. With who shall we speak to next? Shall we speak to Jason Dilworth, or shall we speak to Ryan Hamilton?
If we bring both of them in.
Let's bring them both in, shall we? Right. There we go, David. So I will leave this one to you. In fact, I will jump in a couple of minutes' time.
No worries. So yeah, Jason, Ryan, welcome back. Nice to have you again for the final race of the season. Of course, well, good results for you guys in the end. I think you pretty much had the team's championship wrapped up before this round, but it must have been nice to get the icing on the cake with a couple of wins this evening.
Yeah, it was really good from a team perspective. Obviously Ryan's won the AM Championship, and that's awesome. But to get the team one sewn up with a round to go was really good. Yeah, that's everything we came in for before the season, so we're very happy.
Absolutely. And Ryan, of course, yeah. First things first. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm looking at the leaderboard at the moment, the championship leaderboard at the moment. I think it all is book confirmed that you've taken the championship in the AM class. So congratulations first and foremost. But was there ever a point where, because I mean, to be fair, you guys in the Nomad Sim Racing team have been a bit of a class above. I think the preparation, David and I talked about it a couple of times already. The preparation you guys put in just seems exceptional, and is probably a lot of attributing to how well you guys have done. But it must be quite nice to finish that off and well, take the top two at least in the championship, and you take it for the individual championship yourself. How are you feeling about that?
No, thank you. No, it is just a testament to our sort of will to prepare for the races. We've become become way more organised at Prestanda Nomad, and having engineers with us week in, week out, I think has really raised our game. We're looking a lot stronger in everything we take part in. We're way more organised, and the fact that they have all the data at their disposal to give us a bit of tips, to make a slight little change to the setups, and then tailor those setups to each individual style is something that we can really take advantage of. And I think it's paid dividends in this championship, because everyone says I'm in the team, I'm really good and consistent. Jason's raised his game consistency wise, and it's shown in the team championship. And for myself, it's always just about being near the top. I've had to come through the field quite a lot of the times from the back. I mean, it's got easier since the second half of the season because of the less turnout. But you still got to be there, and you've got to pick your battles, pick your moments, and I'm proud of myself. That's another feather in the cap, and I think as a team we can take a lot of positives from this, move on, and look forward to races and championships in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, speaking of championships in the future, I don't know whether we're allowed to say too much about it at this point, so I won't go into too much detail. But of course, we in WSL know that the second season of this EU Championship has been, loosely speaking, announced. Is that something that you and the Nomad team are going to be coming back for in season number 2? You're going to try and defend both your championship, Ryan, and Jason try and defend the team's championship as well?
I think that one's so far, we haven't got our plans together yet. There are a few things that we need to take part in as a team with new sponsorship and the sort of goals that come with that. So not sure yet. It'd be lovely to come back and try and defend some stuff, but there are a lot of other opportunities as well. So wait and see, I guess, is the best I can do.
That's absolutely fine. Cards close to your chest. I totally appreciate that. Well, gents, congratulations again. Jason, I'll give you the congratulations on behalf of the team's championship, and Ryan, obviously, I can congratulate you on the AM Class Championship as well. You've both, well, I say both of you, you've all done a fantastic job for Nomad Sim Races. Like I say, we can't kind of sing your praises enough in terms of the commitment and the amount of time you guys seem to put into it, and it's clearly paid dividends. So look, congratulations to you both. You've earned your rest. And fingers crossed, I know you're keeping it hush, but fingers crossed we'll see you when season 2 kicks off in the near future. But for now, congratulations, and enjoy some peace and quiet for the time being.
Thank you guys, and as ever, thank you massively for all of the work that you guys are putting in, despite the dwindling numbers. Putting on the same great show every week is great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Same with Jason. Brilliant job. I always watch it back, and it's always it's great fun to watch. And I don't think there's too much rest, because there is 12 hours of Bathurst round the corner for me. So
Likewise, I'll
another
see you there.
workout.
Yeah, I'll see you there, Ryan. Don't you worry. You'll probably be a few splits higher than me, but maybe we'll cross paths at some point at the weekend.
Yeah, no worries. I need to wait before we go. I need to. You said that you saw me in a split somewhere. I'm gonna have to message you, but I can't remember where it was. But I heard about that, and I'm trying to think where I saw you.
Yeah, it was somewhere. I can't for that. It was a practice for race start. I'll
right.
dig it out, but yeah, definitely
No worries.
kicking around somewhere.
All right. Anyway, thank you very much, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Take care.
Bye bye.
Fantastic. Well, yeah, lovely to round things up there, wasn't it, Dave, with the two Nomad guys? I mean, they, as you can imagine, they were extremely happy with their exploits this season. Who can blame them? Taking the team and the individual championship. They've basically got the whole hog, haven't they?
They have an exemplary performance from the guys at Nomad Sim Racing. I kind of wanted to stir the pot a little bit with Jason asking him whether or not he just let Ryan win the championship, given how close they were. But yeah, I definitely don't think there's any of that in it whatsoever. But there we go. That is a season done and dusted. As soon as it started, it is over. A huge congratulations to all of your champions, then to Vince Peters for winning the Pro class, for Stuart Reynolds for winning the Pro Am class, and then to Ryan Hamilton for winning the Am class, and then to Nomad Sim Racing Black for a dominant performance, taking that title for the teams as well. That is it though. That is all 10 rounds of our amazing Race Anywhere Porsche Cup done and dusted. Thank you very much to everyone who has been watching at home. A huge thank you to my co-commentator David Dressel and to Mike Yao, our amazing broadcast director from SimSport. An awesome performance. Huge thank you as always to our commercial partners, to Race Anywhere, to Sim3D, World Series Leagues, and to Go for the Gap. Huge thank you to you at home, and until next time we cross paths, have a very, very safe time, and we'll see you very soon.